Hey everyone, this is Becky Rogers, and you're listening to the Not Quite Supermoms podcast. And I'm so excited about today's episode. It's actually about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. About a year ago, a little over a year ago, my pastor's wife asked me to host a life group for moms in our church. And I've spoken a little bit about that before, but the ladies I'm interviewing today have a heart for women's ministry. And it just speaks to my heart because that is one of the biggest things that God has done in my life in the last year and a half, is really just giving me his heart for moms. And I think life groups and connecting with moms is a huge way that moms can be encouraged. And I know in different seasons of my life when I was lonely or just feeling really down, having other moms to come alongside me and say, you know what, I've been there before. That's a big deal. And even if you don't have a life group that you can attend regularly through your church or through a MOPS group or whatever, if you connect on Facebook or Instagram with different moms ministries, I think you'll find that there is encouragement there just waiting for you. And as a writer and a blogger myself, I know when God puts something on my heart, I think, which mom is out there that needs to hear this today? I know he always uses the thoughts for me first. I always get a blessing out of whatever he puts on my heart. And then I think I have to share this because there's a mom somewhere that needs that. And so I encourage you, if you have a life group in your church for moms and you haven't attended, I encourage you to just try it out and see that it's not about judgment or just kind of evaluating each other, but rather knowing that we're all in this together and we've all been in different seasons too. And whatever you're struggling with, I guarantee there's another mom out there that has been through it too. So I hope that you'll be encouraged by this interview. You are not alone. And that is really the heart behind the Ruth Experience. And I can't wait for you to hear what they're all about through their own words. All right, well, I am so excited to have the ladies from the Ruth Experience with us on the podcast today. I have Kristen and Kendra on the phone, and they have another partner in the ministry. It's Julie, but she couldn't be with us today. But I'm so excited to have you ladies on the podcast today.
Thanks, Becky. We're excited to be here. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're called the Ruth Experience, and I guess that was born maybe before your first book, but can you tell us a little bit what the Ruth Experience is?
Sure. We usually have to explain it. People, a lot of times don't have any idea what that means, but that actually came out several years ago. Julie and I were doing a group at our church, and it was for women, and we grew up in churches where they would have like a testimony night where people would get up and share their stories. So we decided we wanted to do that, except in our homes, and we were going to invite women, but we didn't want to call it a tea and testimony. We felt like that was kind of outdated. Old lady. Yes, nothing against the older ladies, but we were just like, we need to hate this name. So as we were kind of praying about what to call it, I was reading the book of Ruth at the time. And I think I was making dinner one night, and it came to my mind of calling it the Ruth Experience, because the idea of sharing stories and walking with other women and going through heartache and trial and grief and all these things that we all experience today, and then kind of seeing God's redemption and his grace and mercy through it. For us, that was the experience that you get when you read the book of Ruth, and that was kind of the experience that we wanted to recreate for women as well, that as we shared our stories today, we would have that same experience of, seeing, being honest about hard things, but then also seeing God show up and move in those situations. And so we started actually calling those gatherings in our home the Ruth Experience.
I love it.
So then when we decided to start writing together, our first book was based on the book of Ruth. And so we called it the same thing. And then that just kind of snowballed. That's what our blog's called. And so that has been kind of our heart behind everything that we've done, is simply the sharing of stories and showing God's faithfulness.
I love
really
it.
just the idea of women in community.
Yeah.
Right. I love it. I love it. And I love that idea because, talking to moms, they feel alone so many times in the struggles of what motherhood is. And a lot of times it's just easy to isolate ourselves sometimes, or to not share and to not look around us. We're so focused on what's in front of us as moms, and just coming along together. I love that idea. And I love the idea of sharing, because when we share stories of faith, it builds our own faith. When we hear others, and to know we're not alone. I love that. That has been a theme just of the Not Quite Supermoms blog and the podcast and everything. Just knowing that we're not alone as women in our struggles and everything else. And I love that. And that actually brings, the idea of sisterhood too, because moms really do need others to come along and say, it's going to get better, or I've been there, or I've been through that struggle, or whatever. I love it. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit more about the sisterhood idea, because I've seen that two of y'all maybe have been speaking on sisterhood.
Yeah, so Julie and I, this is Kendra, are doing a 6-week series at a church right now called The Sisterhood. And so it's really about, kind of bringing women together and talking about what sisterhood looks like within the church. But then the other piece of it, too, is how do we reach out then to others in our community? And how do we build friendships and build relationships with people outside of that? So it's kind of twofold. It's this idea of having a sisterhood and knowing, like you said, like having people that we can be honest with and share our lives and our story with and go to for prayer. Yes. Or when we need counseling, things like that. So having a solid, godly base of women that we can trust and that we know will give us godly counsel, but then also being able to then go back out into our communities and to love on other women who, like you said, may be lonely or need a friend. So it's really kind of looking at both of those sides of it.
I love it. I love it. And I lead a life group in my church, and just for moms. And I feel like it's true. Like moms, it's hard. Women in general, it's hard for us to have the time to reach out. But once we do, we realize there's so much more. There's life and faith building, when we get together. I know I feel rejuvenized just meeting with the women and hearing their stories and sharing together. So, but a lot of times I hear women say, well, I don't have that, or I don't have access to that. And social media is a great tool, but does it really, in your experience, does it substitute for community and sisterhood in close proximity and in physical terms,
I think it can help. I think it can definitely be something that you utilize alongside those one-on-one personal relationships. And I think part of it is just our own willingness to invite people into our home, maybe just one or two ladies over at your house who are willing to overlook your mess.
Yes.
And not mind that your kids are screaming in the background. I think sometimes it's our own vulnerability that gets in the way.
Yes.
But I do also agree, I think that social media can help. And even something as similar as Kendra and Julie and I have a running text message conversation, which sounds really silly, but it's a great way to touch base throughout the day, just as we have time. And I don't think that replaces those face-to-face conversations that you have, because it's hard to tell things like tone and body language.
Yeah.
And you really get a sense of what's going on in someone's life through text message. But
right.
I think it can definitely be a good way to stay in touch with other people, especially if you're feeling lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great too. And I feel like too sometimes we have a hard time keeping up with relationships and friendships because life is so crazy. And yet just a text message, I love that idea, because just a text message you can get to it later, or you can respond when you have a minute or whatever, and it just changes the pressure, I guess, level of always having to be in touch or whatever. It's not always about that. It's about just having a running dialogue or a running conversation where, you can touch base or reach out if necessary. And I love that. But I love that idea too of inviting people into our homes. I think it's a lost art today because we do have so much social media contact that we feel like we're connected to people, but there's just something about having somebody at your kitchen table.
Yeah.
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 So,
There is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do. So tell us about this kindness challenge. I know your recent book is a 31-day kindness challenge, and I love that idea. I am going to be reading that book. I can't wait. I am so excited because it just sounds like something I can do with my kids.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit confusing because we just put out a 7-day kindness dare, and then this book, Becky, is actually 365 days. So it's an entire year of kindness. But I know we've gotten a lot of questions about that, so it's a little confusing. The kindness dare is actually a free download that people can go online and just get and do, and it's sort of to give you an idea of what the year of kindness would be like, or be about. And so the kindness dare, it can be done individually or with families. I mean, we have families, so we incorporate our kids in on pretty much everything that we do.
Right.
And we always up. And so it's a great idea for anyone who is looking for, not only for themselves, because we really have found we've grown so much through doing kindness and kind acts, but it's also been a really tangible way for us to teach our kids about God's love and his compassion and his mercy.
Yes.
And to show them in very practical ways. And I think in our culture, especially today, I was just having a conversation over the weekend with some friends, and they were saying, man, if our culture, we could just incorporate some more kindness or compassion for other people instead of just assuming kind of the worst.
Right.
Just what a difference that could make. So really the kindness dare is to kind of get people thinking about kindness and looking at it from a standpoint of how they can do it with their families. And then, the book is actually, an entire year of kindness.
I love that. That is awesome.
And the book actually came out of, before we ever even wrote this book or had an idea for it or talked to a publisher about it, we had been doing Advent acts of kindness. So for several years, we had been doing acts of kindness with our kids leading up to Christmas, the 25 days leading up to Christmas, because I don't know about you, but Christmas around here was just like, it was getting out of control.
Yes.
Our kids.
Yes, definitely.
And so we started incorporating kind acts. Well, then I think after our second year of doing that, Kristen was like, I think we should do a year of kindness. And Julie and I were like, okay.
I love it. I love that. I think that's awesome. And it just takes a focus. I know, because my kids are the same way. I mean, every year it's like, how many days till Christmas? How many days till I get presents? And just taking the focus off of ourselves and looking around at others. I love that idea. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so awesome. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I feel like for us, it's really created some new traditions around Christmas.
Yeah.
My kids look forward to it every year. We have a little Advent tree where you can slide in slips of paper. And so I have the acts of kindness written out on, each day's act of kindness is in the little slot. And they take turns. They keep track of whose day it is to get to pull the keep the paper out. We read a little Advent devotional, and then we get to do whatever the event happens to be, or that act of kindness. And we make some fun things, like baking cookies and bringing them to the neighbors, or, picking out toys for tots or something like that.
Right.
Things that are make them excited about giving to others too.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's really awesome. I want to include the link to the free kindness dare. I think that'll be awesome. And then, of course, the link to the book, because I think it's one of those ways that you can make Christmas last all year long, is having, the 365 days. I think that's awesome. I think that's great.
Yeah.
That is so exciting. So do you know what's coming up next for the Ruth Experience, or are you just kind of still riding the wave of your most recent book?
Well, we are riding the wave of this out. Our book actually releases next Tuesday, October 17th.
Okay.
So we, along with the publisher, they have been so gracious to us. Tyndale is our publisher. They have come alongside us and helped us write a lot of complimentary things that go along with the book. Like we said, the 7-day kindness dare. We just put out last week a list of 20 free ways to show kindness.
Nice.
And we have some coming up as well. So we're kind of just riding this, like you said, the wave of this book out. It's a lot of work to get a book out into the world. It's great. It's so much fun.
Yes.
But, that's been our focus.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and with the holidays coming up too, it's gonna be a crazy time. But that is so cool. I am so excited. I'm so excited to read your new book and to put that kindness dare out there. I really think that it's definitely a way to change the atmosphere, especially this time of year coming into the holidays and everything. I love it. Well, I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. I think this has been such an awesome interview. I love the idea of sisterhood and moms kind of getting together, and it really is the heartbeat of the Not Quite Supermoms ministry, is just knowing that that moms are not alone, women are not alone, and that hearing each other's stories. I love it. I love that idea, and I think you ladies are doing an awesome thing, and it's so inspiring to talk to people who have been doing this for a while, and I just know other moms are going to find encouragement from following your blog and your Instagram and everything. So I so appreciate your being on the podcast today.
Well, thank you, Becky. We are thrilled to have gotten to talk to you as well. Absolutely.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed that interview, and I hope that you'll check out the books that the ladies from the Ruth Experience have written. I know I am so excited about this kindness challenge, even for my own family, and especially going to the holidays. This is a perfect timing for a book like that. So I hope that you'll check it out too. Look for the comments. You'll find the links to their website and the ways to follow them and also purchase their books. I think you will be encouraged and blessed by these ladies in their ministry. As I said before, if you don't have a life group, think about starting one, or ask your pastor if it's something that he's ever considered, because moms really do sometimes feel alone in their struggles. It's a very isolated job being a mom, and there's so much potential for moms to get together, and when they do, powerful things happen. When moms connect and share what's on their hearts, other moms relate, and everyone ends up encouraged. So I hope that you'll find a life group or join one. And if that's still impossible for you, I hope that you'll connect with a ministry online, whether it be the Not Quite Supermoms ministry or the Ruth Experience. There are plenty of moms out there who are sharing and encouraging